Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session of the Montgomery County Council. Today, our number one item is a public hearing on a resolution to approve amendment to the FY 25 to 30 Capital Improvements Program and Supplemental Appropriation 25-60 to the FY 25 Capital Budget, Montgomery County Government, Department of General Services, MCPS Bus Depot and Maintenance Relocation in the amount of $10,550,000. Source of funds is recordation tax premium. A joint Transportation and Environment Committee and Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee work session is scheduled for April 21st, 2025. Those wishing to submit material for the Council's consideration should do so by the close of business on April 14th. As a reminder of our public hearing testimony guidelines, your comments must be limited to issues relevant to the public hearing topic for which you are testifying and are appropriate for a public meeting. You will hear a tone when your time is up, and we appreciate everyone abiding by their allotted time. And so we have our first panel all set up, and I'll first call on Carol Kosary.
Good afternoon, council members and Madam President. I'm Dr. Carol Kosary, a longtime resident of Durwood. I am also a member of the Mid-County Citizens Advisory Board. The Mid-County Citizens Advisory Board expresses its support of the amendment to the fiscal year 25 to 30 CIP Supplemental Appropriation number 25-60 to the fiscal 25 capital budget concerning the MCPS Bus Depot and Maintenance Relocation Project. It's quite a mouthful. You'll also be getting a letter from us. It's going to lag behind this testimony. 19 years ago, in 2006, Montgomery County approved the Shady Grove Sector Plan. This plan created a vision for the area surrounding the Shady Grove Metro Station of a walkable and mixed-use community with civic spaces, parks, community-serving retail, and a school. Central to this plan was and still is the relocation of the MCPS Bus Depot on Crabs Branch Way in order to allow for the transformation of this area. The county reiterated and strengthened this commitment in the 2020 Shady Grove Minor Master Plan Amendment. In the almost 20 years since the original plan, both longtime Durwood residents as well as the new residents who moved to the still under development Shady Grove Westside community, expecting these promised improvements, have watched in frustration as the school bus depot on Crabs Branch Way has remained despite numerous relocation proposals, including some sites that remain large empty parking lots to this day. This proposal would relocate the MCPS maintenance facility and 250 of the 400 or so buses to a much more appropriate location in a commercial and light industrial area along East Goody Drive, rather than the heavily residential and Metro Station adjacent community where it currently exists. This relocation will work in combination with the county's ongoing Jeremiah Park project to finally allow this property to fulfill its long-intended vision, a more vibrant and healthy community with the parks and open space amenities that this area of the county has been long denied. Further, this project will benefit the entire county by finally allowing the creation of new housing, new businesses, new parks, and new civic spaces, and also by reducing the size and scope of the ongoing Jeremiah Park project, saving the county hundreds of millions of dollars in needed future investments. I want to thank you for your consideration of this vitally important project.
Great, and we look forward to receiving the full testimony. Evelyn Beckman?
Yes. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Evelyn Beckman, and I've been a property owner and resident at Westside at Shady Grove Metro since 2017. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about the urgent need to approve the allocation of funds and resources in order to move the county school buses in their entirety away from their current location on the east side of Crabs Branch Way. First, I want to acknowledge the work that Councilmember Lutke, her Chief of Staff Aaron Kraut, and David Dice with DGS have done in bringing us to this point. Their dedication to this issue and their consistent engagement with the residents have been noticed and much appreciated. They have listened to us, provided us with updates, and worked with us to find solutions that balance the needs of the Durwood community with the logistical challenges of relocating the depot. Their efforts have made it possible for us to be at this critical juncture today. For years, Montgomery County has promised to relocate the MCPS bus depot. This commitment was made to the residents of the surrounding neighborhoods who have long endured the noise, traffic congestion, and eyesore of having an industrial-scale bus facility in their community. Time and again, county leaders have acknowledged that this is not an appropriate long-term location for the depot and have pledged to move it elsewhere. Now, at last, you have the rare opportunity to fulfill that promise. Moving the bus depot is not just about addressing past commitments. It's about shaping the future of our community and our county. The Shady Grove sector has been planned as a vibrant, walkable, and transit-oriented future location with new housing, businesses, and public green spaces designed to enhance the quality of life for all residents. But that vision cannot be fully realized while the MCPS bus depot remains in place. The presence of a large-scale industrial facility is fundamentally at odds with the kind of mixed-use, community-friendly development that has long been envisioned for this area. By approving the funding and resources for this project, you can remove a major obstacle to progress. You can clear the way for long-planned redevelopment that will bring new energy and opportunity to this community. You can ensure that this area evolves in a way that aligns with the county's broader goals for smart growth and sustainable development. This is a pivotal moment, a chance to demonstrate that when the county makes a commitment to its residents, it follows through, a chance to replace an outdated and disruptive use of land with something that truly serves the surrounding neighborhoods. I urge you to take action now to move the depot. Our community is watching and counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you. Shobana Sharma.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon, council members, Madam President. I'd like to thank you all in advance for your time today. I am Shobana Sharma. I am a Durwood resident, and I'm also the president of the Westside Shady Grove Metro Homeowners Association. We have approximately 1,000 plus owners in our development and residents. My husband and I moved to the community in 2018, and we live directly across the street from the main entrance of the bus depot. I want to express my community's strong support for this amendment and for the funding that is being requested at this time for the relocation of approximately 250 buses from the depot. As a resident of Durwood and an active community volunteer, I want to personally thank County Executive Elrich for his continuing presence and long promised relocation of the buses that he is moving forward. I too agree with Evelyn and also with Carol. Without Dawn Lutke, without Councilmember Lutke, her Chief of Staff, and the Director of General Services, Mr. David Dice, we'd be in a much different position today. So we are indebted to the hard work and the continued work that you're doing on behalf of Westside and all the residents of Durwood. I respectfully urge the council to approve this funding so that these buses can be moved, so that the vision of the Shady Grove sector plan, you've heard it's been 20 years now, can be realized, so that we can have those parks, we can have the school, we can have the retail, we can have the much needed county housing. I hear there's a a housing shortage. Maybe you all know more about that than I do. This plan definitely creates a great vision for where our community, where Durwood needs to be. You know, we have been the dump, and this kind of gets us out of that and gives us a new vision, a new look, which all of the 1,000+ residents at Westside and the other residents in Durwood need. You know, there's a school that's being planned on the west side, but there's parks and other civic association type things and mixed housing, and it's really needed to transform the area. Without it, we're going to continue in dismay. The community, my West Side community, which is represented by Ana Calejo and Evelyn Beckman, along with probably hundreds of hopefully other testimonies that you will receive, are committed to seeing this through. We're committed to the work that's required to help you, to help us, because we do believe that the development on the east side is going to be a huge benefit for the county as a whole, not just West Side, not just Durwood. So we respectfully request you to please approve this funding, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ana Calejo?
Thank you very much, and apologies, I had a little trouble finding this place. Good afternoon, council members, Madam President. My name is Ana Coelho. As Shobana has said, I'm a resident of the West Side. I've been living in Durwood for over 20 years and been at the West Side for the past 8 years, where I live with my husband and my daughter. One of the things that attracted us to this community was the promise of a 4-acre park that was going to be put across from where we live now. However, for the past 8 years, we have not had any green spaces or access to any green spaces within walking distance. We do have a very small patch of grass in our community at the West Side, but that is definitely not enough for all the kids and all the adults that could enjoy a beautiful park. I have been an engaged community member and looking at solutions to relocate the MCPS bus depot. Unfortunately, we have seen year after year and option after option failing, but at this point we are very encouraged with your help that we can actually find a solution to relocate the bus depot and then have the promise of the Shady Grove sector plan and that beautiful park I mentioned earlier. My daughter is now 12 years old, and I'm truly hoping that before she turns an adult that she will have a park, a place to hang out with her friends when she's a teenager. So I urge you to please vote in favor of this amendment, and just want to thank you for the opportunity to testify and your support in this.
Thank you, Anna, and glad you found us. All right, that's all the in-person testimony we have. We have one virtual person, Dominic Pooler. Not online? Nope. All right, then you all were it. Thank you for joining us, and this public hearing is now closed. All right. Item number 2 is a public hearing on the resolution to approve FY26 transportation fees, charges, and fares. A Transportation and Environment Committee work session is scheduled for April 29th. Those wishing to submit material for the Council's consideration should do so by the close of business on April 22nd, 2025. As a reminder of public hearing testimony guidelines, your comments must be limited to issues relevant to the public hearing topic for which you are testifying and are appropriate for a public meeting. You'll hear a tone when your time is up, and we appreciate everyone abiding by their allotted time. We have one speaker for this in person, Jacob Matthew Goodman. Mm-hmm. Sure. Take your time, Mr. Goodman.
Okay, good afternoon, council members. I'm here to address today concerns that the money spent on fare enforcement of ride-on fare evasion pardon the pun, could be better spent elsewhere, since we have concerns about limited budget options. I strongly believe, as I mentioned in my previous testimony on Monday regarding the general budget, that we need to have more funding set aside for accessibility of bus stations and improved bus frequency and just in general more bus routes. The frequency problem is atrocious. This needs to be addressed in the form of adding budget lines about improving bus frequency specifically. And, the Ride on Reimagine network, its five plus year plan does not do enough to keep up with the demand at the area. It won't be implemented fast enough due to demand. We need to implement it faster. And, I feel, okay, this budget should prioritize public transit accessibility and reliability more than highways and highway widenings or militarized police and force compliance to ensure compliance of payment of fares on transit. Yes, I believe it is important for people to pay their fair share for transit fares, pardon the pun again, riding the bus. But right now, we are about to go through some tough times economically, with everything going on the federal level and on the state level. And I think it is very important to keep in mind the struggles of daily lives of, average citizens, and even those, who can't afford various transit options, cannot afford to ride a car, aren't able to drive, especially those with disabilities, visual disabilities like myself, who may not be able to otherwise get around aside from the bus or rideshare. And as rideshare options increase price-wise, it is important to keep this in mind. And also, enforcement of fare evasion, having police officers on buses, depending on how you equip them, it could be very intimidating, and it could really scare people away from riding. And it could also make them feel more safe, but at the same time, we don't need to be adding more funds to our, to improve our prison system and adding more funds to basically have more, when these funds could be better used elsewhere. There are many transit systems throughout the country and around the world that rely. I will be sending you a full email of this testimony later. I'm sorry I wasn't able to fully clearly elaborate on it, but thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goodman, and thank you for coming back. That is it for this public hearing. The public hearing is now closed. Item 3 is a public hearing on a resolution to approve FY26 solid waste service changes. A Transportation Environment Committee work session is scheduled for April 11th, 2025. Those wishing to submit material for the council's consideration should do so by the close of business today. There are no registered speakers for this hearing. This public hearing is now closed. Item number 4 is a public hearing on a resolution to approve FY26 water quality protection charge. A Transportation Environment Committee work session is scheduled for April 11th, 2025. Those wishing to submit material for the council's consideration should do so by the close of business today. There are no registered speakers for this hearing. This public hearing is now closed. Item number 5 is a public hearing on a resolution to approve the FY26 County 911 fee increase. A Public Safety Committee work session is scheduled for April 10th, 2025. Those wishing to submit material for the council's consideration should do so by the close of business today. There are no registered speakers for this hearing. The public hearing is now closed. Next, what you're all waiting for, the final public hearing on the FY26 operating budget and FY26 to 31 public services program and fiscal policy for Montgomery County Government, Montgomery College, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, WSSC Water, and Montgomery County Public Schools. Council committees will conduct work sessions on the budgets, and they already began this morning with E&C, and full council work sessions will begin on Monday, May 5th. The committee schedule is available on the council's website. Everyone who has registered to speak has and should be offered the opportunity to testify. Please keep applause and noise to a minimum so as not to interrupt the speakers and so that we can hear them. Also, per our rules for the hearing room, please don't hold up signs that will block someone else's view. And if you can, please keep the aisles clear so people can enter and exit safely. As a reminder, our public hearing testimony guidelines, your comments must be limited to issues relevant to the public hearing topic for which you are testifying and are appropriate for a public meeting. You will hear a tone when your time is up, and we appreciate everyone abiding by their time. The first group of speakers on the operating budget include Elena Fine, Craig Rice, Donna Gabrielle, Liz Kruger, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Juan Dang. And Ms. Fine, you can go first when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Ilana Fine, 2615 Oakenshield Drive in Rockville, 20854. Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for having me today. I currently serve as chair of the board of the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. I am here to strongly advocate for the restoration of our $6.2 million budget, which is beyond the county executive's proposed increase over last year's budget, which had been reduced by 40% from the year before. While we are extremely appreciative of the restoration of some of our funding, we strongly believe that given the current landscape, it would be a mistake to underfund this organization. At the proposed level, the organization will barely be able to deliver on its existing offerings, let alone tackle the expanded business retention and attraction efforts, marketing, rebranding, workforce initiatives, and cross-sector collaboration needed at this critical time. I'd like to make a couple of quick points regarding this ask. First, a budget reflects the priorities of an organization, whether for a business, nonprofit, or government entity. Approving an almost flat budget to an economic development organization at a time when economic development initiatives are critically needed to attract employers and retain talent sends a message to taxpayers that building our economy is not a priority. This prioritization is especially dramatic when compared to some of the much larger budget line items that residents might not deem as urgent. At $6.2 million, our budget would only represent 0.08% of the entire county budget. I bring this up because last year the Econ Committee did approve a budget beyond the county executive's request, but it was not funded by the larger council, thus sending the message that it wasn't a priority amongst many other social programs. But this county needs to create the economic activity needed to support the aspirations of our community, and I can't think of a more important social program than economic development that provides good jobs for our residents. Second, funding to MCEDC should be considered an investment, not a budget expense. As mentioned by many other presenters, dollars invested in this organization result in higher paying jobs in high growth industries, which has a multiplier effect on our economy. Lastly, as a board, we received a lot of feedback that this organization needed to refocus and make sure we had a clearer vision and more credible metrics. We heard you, and we are doing so. Our board is extremely engaged in our current transition and CEO search, but we need to show our candidates that the county is committed to MCEDC's stability and growth. As board members, we are committed to this effort, as evidenced by engagement with the council through other testimony and meetings. We are ready to take this on, but we cannot do it without your support. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Nice to see you back, Mr. Rice. You're up next.
Thank you very much, Madam President, Mr. Vice President, and members of the council. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to address you today about a pressing issue that many of you know that affects countless families throughout our community, food insecurity. In the face of recent cuts to federal food assistance programs, rising unemployment, increasing fear around seeking support, Manna Food Center stands as a beacon of hope for Montgomery County residents. And we are proud to support our community through a number of initiatives, including providing weekend food support, monthly food pantries, grocery gift cards to 91 Montgomery County public school sites, directly benefiting students and their families. We deliver fresh vegetables, eggs, and meats, as well as pantry staples monthly. Many items are brought straight to families' doors or made accessible through Lyft rides, eliminating the need for utilizing public transportation. increasing access to culturally specific food by partnering with 12 local businesses that redeem monthly grocery vouchers, continuing to commit to making sure that we're providing culturally appropriate food for those who need it, hosting bi-monthly pop-up distribution events that not only provide fresh produce, but also are connecting individuals with other wraparound services, which we know are true to our mission of more than just a meal. The list goes on about the things that we do. I don't need to speak ad nauseum to them, but I do want to make sure that you know one simple fact. The county executive's recommended budget will allow us to continue these vital services, supporting roughly around 10,000 individuals per month. And while we are deeply grateful to the county executive for this support, I have to share with you that it is simply not enough. The situation we're facing today is a crisis, and it calls for a more significant financial commitment, one that empowers food providers to respond swiftly and comprehensively to the ever-growing need. And you, the council, as I have sat there before, have an opportunity to take a stand. Amid mounting immigration concerns, you can ensure that food assistance remains accessible and safe for all families. As a council, you, in the light of federal layoffs, can remain agile, responding to the needs in ways that maintain dignity and provide options for how assistance is received. You, as a council, can ensure that as food costs rise, you can support our efforts to expand partnerships with local farmers, offering health-promoting food that strengthens our local food systems and enhances its resilience in times of crisis. The need for support is urgent. You know your communities, you know what's going on. I know that you face a daunting task in terms of really trying to figure out what priorities are there, but do know that our families are facing a daunting situation as well. A 6-week wait for an appointment at our White Oak Market, which is already staffed 5 days a week, to be able to get their first box of food assistance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Donna Gabrielle.
Dear council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'd like to share with you my personal journey and advocacy for the work that drives me to get up each morning, despite the insurmountable challenges nonprofits are facing. I have dedicated the past 7 years to a vocational services program at a nonprofit organization that offers wraparound services and has some of the most dedicated individuals working together to make a difference in the lives of our most vulnerable communities. I started as a vocational counselor, working closely with case managers to help individuals experiencing homelessness and those families with incomes below the 200% federal poverty level find employment. To give you an idea of the work that I did and that my team does, we assist clients one-on-one with resume building, mock interviews, and job search strategies, focusing on job opportunities near their homes or shelters. In some cases, we go out with the client, knock on doors, and personally introduce them to businesses with resumes in hand. This level of hands-on support is something that large employment services do not offer, especially when it comes to serving those experiencing homelessness and those on the verge of becoming homeless. Organizations such as Shepherd's Table, Interfaith Works, Mana Foods, Every Mind, Montgomery College, Career Catchers, and Catholic Charities are experts in serving our community's most underserved populations. Working alongside social workers, vocational counselors, case managers, resource coordinators, and volunteers, I can tell you firsthand that the work that we do is invaluable, but it also is incredibly challenging, especially with the lack of support and resources that we're facing. We pour our hearts in our work, but we also need your help to continue to make a real dent in the homelessness situation in Montgomery County and make it become a rare situation. The people we serve are often overlooked, and without the proper resources and support, it becomes nearly impossible to help them overcome their situations and become self-sufficient. I ask that you consider supporting these organizations and programs with dedicated teams working tirelessly on the front lines, often without recognition. We are underfunded, yet we continue to make a difference through our partnerships, collaboration, and in sharing of resources. However, we're reaching the limits of what we can do. Our teams are overworked, overwhelmed, and our programs are constantly running out of essential funding. For a homeless individual to secure employment, they need not only a working cell phone, updated resume, interview clothes, but also a support system, a case manager, a mental health provider, access to affordable housing, groceries, transportation, training opportunities. Programs like the one I work for provide these type of support. We also collaborate with the ICH Workforce Development Committee to launch job fairs. There's one coming up on May 23rd. We would love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Liz Kruger?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon. Always appreciate the opportunity to present before council. My name is Liz Kruger, and I have worked in crisis response in Montgomery County for 13 years. Real quick, I have to say there's an ongoing joke at IW where I work that I can't stick to talking points, so I want to make sure, Courtney and Terry, you see I printed something out today. So if you're watching, you can see it's right here. But I am actually not here to support any one program. I'm here as a concerned professional and an expert in homeless services. I am urging council to strategically focus on prevention efforts as it relates to housing, and to start helping our community members before they reach the point of crisis. In August, I will have worked in homeless shelters for 20 years across the country, starting in Juneau, Alaska, to Colorado Springs, Richmond, and now 13 years here in Montgomery County. So I do consider myself somewhat of an expert. I now currently oversee 4 shelters as the Director of Homeless Services for Interfaith Works. And there are certain variables that I've observed in all shelters during my time. Shelters are a crisis response that fail to address the root causes of homelessness. And at times they even shield the community from those root causes. These include lack of affordable housing, economic inequity, racism, and discrimination. They are overcrowded, they are under-resourced, they result in unsanitary conditions, lack of privacy, they pose risks of violence and disease, and the communal nature invariably harms residents' mental and emotional well-being, which is compounded by the fact that everyone coming to shelter has already had a lifetime of trauma. So, while they are intended for short-term stays, some individuals and families still remain for years because there's insufficient resources to address long-term housing stability. Additionally, staff often lack the necessary experience to address substance abuse and mental health issues, and this will always negatively impact the quality of service over time. Later today, you will hear from somebody, and she will tell you that we condone the abuse of Black women in our shelters, particularly women with disabilities. While we have exhaustively investigated and found that her claims are unsubstantiated and oftentimes dangerously exaggerated, ironically, she is someone we would have loved to partner with had she not become so abusive to our staff and made so many threats, because the reality is shelters are inherently problematic. And this is the kind of voice we want to lift up and work alongside. We do want to partner with this kind of criticism. We are not afraid of it. So it is for this reason, and I have said it before, I said it a year ago, I will keep saying it, I urge council to start thinking and funding strategically towards prevention.
Thank you very much. Wang Dang?
Good afternoon, Madam President and council members. My name is Juan Deng, and I serve as a board member of the Maryland Vietnamese Mutual Association, also known as MVMA. I'm here on behalf of MVMA's board and our thousands of clients to express our deep concern regarding a devastating development that threatens MVMA and the critical services it provides to our most vulnerable residents. We received shocking and distressing news that MVMA's dedicated grant with DHHS to provide language-appropriate social services will not be renewed in FY26 without any stated cause other than, quote-unquote, decision to consolidate funds into the Healthy Communities Funds, which is administered by the county's Asian American Health Initiative, or AAHI. This decision is not only unjust, as no other AAPI organization has been subjected to this consolidation, but also deeply harmful to the thousands of low-income limited English proficient Vietnamese speaking residents who rely on MVMA for essential services. For over 4 decades, MVMA has been a lifeline to our community, offering culturally competent and language appropriate services for LEP individuals. This grant funds 2 of MVMA's programs. One, the Tutoring, Empowerment, and Mentoring Program, also known as TEAM, provides LEP Vietnamese-speaking youth with tutoring and mentoring services with the goal of reducing the risk of mental health issues among Vietnamese youth. And 2, the Golden Age Project for Seniors, also known as GAPS, helps low-income LEP Vietnamese-speaking seniors 55 and over apply for safety net social services such as Affordable Care Act health insurance, supplemental security income, supplemental nutrition assistance program, and other similar services. So joining me today in the audience are some of the seniors whom MVMA has assisted. Despite the model minority myth, approximately 10% of all Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders live in poverty, many of whom are LEP seniors. Under this grant, MVMA has provided an average of 176 services per month this year. The abrupt elimination of this grant would leave countless low-income LEP residents struggling to access critical resources at a time when the need has never been greater, especially under the new federal administration. In conclusion, MVMA strongly urges the Council to move MVMA's dedicated funding of $89,840 back under the Children, Youth, and Family Services where it was originated before being moved to AHI in FY26 in order to prevent it from consolidating our dedicated funding to AHI. Thank you for your time and consideration regarding this matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our first panel. I'll call up the next panel.
Madam President, if
Yes,
I could just
yes.
very quickly, I just wanted to acknowledge Mana staff and board that was here with
Absolutely.
me. I apologize. So
Nope.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bad job as a CEO.
Appreciate that. We'll give you some grace this time. All right. We have for our next panel, Howard Hill, Dr. Anita Moawi, Jana Circus, Michelle Whitaker, and Angela Franco. Okay. Mr. Hill, you can start when you're ready.
Am I on? Oh, right. Thank you for everyone for being here. I'm going to speak in behalf of Impact Silver Spring as well as Black Physician Coalition and Eckerd Connects. The East County community has long faced significant disparities in access of health care. However, through a remarkable collaborative effort, we've achieved a significant milestone, securing free medical, I'll repeat that, free medical, free dental, and free mental health services for all residents. This triumph is a culmination of unwavering dedication and a powerful partnership with Eckerd Connects, the Black Physicians Coalition, and Impact Silver Spring. Our focus has been twofold: empowering our disconnected youth and providing vital support for our vulnerable senior citizens. For our youth, many of whom have faced challenging circumstances such as school dropouts or expulsions, we've established comprehensive support systems. This includes access to educational pathways, GED, preparation, job training opportunities, and crucial mental health resources. The goal isn't merely to address immediate needs, but to cultivate long-term stability and success, empowering them to build healthy and fulfilling lives. Simultaneously, we have also addressed critical health needs of our senior population, many of whom grapple with chronic illnesses and social isolation. The invaluable contribution of the Black Physician Coalition has been instrumental here. Their expertise provides not only high-quality medical care, but also culturally sensitive support, bridging communication gaps and fostering trust. Services range from crucial blood pressure monitoring and preventative care to tailored health education programs specially designed to meet the unique needs of our aging Black residents. This personalized approach ensured that our elders receive the dignified and respectful care they deserve. The power of this initiative lies its intergenerational dedication. Integrational approach. Our youth find positive role models in the dedication professionals, working with our seniors, gaining inspiration and the tools for their own future success. Our seniors in turn benefit from the energy and support of younger generation, fostering a sense of community and mutual respect. This collaborative effort underscores Impact Silver Spring's broader commitment to community development, particularly in the East County, by investing in healthcare, mental wellness, and education, and employment opportunities. We're building a stronger, more resilient community, one where equity and opportunity are cornerstone of a brighter future for all. We believe this model can serve as an example for other communities striving to address the healthcare disparities and build healthier and more equitable futures for their residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Janice Serkis.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for the work that you do for our county and for allowing me the opportunity to speak in support of Montgomery College and its programs. My name is Janice Serkis, and I'm a Senior Human Resources Representative at Charles River Laboratories Rockville site. With over 20,000 employees within 110 facilities in over 20 countries across the globe, Charles River provides essential products and services to help pharma and biotech companies, government agencies, and leading academic institutions around the globe accelerate their research and drug development. In 2021, Charles River established its position in Montgomery County with the acquisition of Rockville's Vigene Biosciences. Charles River Laboratories and Montgomery College Biotechnology have worked closely with one another to help build and train a biotech workforce beneficial to the growth of Charles River Laboratories in Montgomery County. This partnership has facilitated curriculum alignment with industry needs, the recent establishment of an apprentice sponsorship program, and the successful employment of graduates from both the credit program and BioTrain bootcamp. Furthermore, it offers continuous professional development opportunities encompassing both technical and soft skills through BioTrain workshops and advanced level courses for Charles River employees. I have personally benefited from Montgomery College's programs. When my Rockville High School was not able to provide the math courses that I needed many years ago, I was able to enroll at Montgomery College and complete the courses. I have fond memories of a fellow classmate and I driving up the pike several times a week to attend our classes at MC. And when I recently attended one of the soft skills courses offered by MC, I was very confused by a request to update my student record from the 1990s, so I can attest that they're also very great at record keeping. I'm a long-term Montgomery County resident. 2 of my children graduated from Wheaton High School, and my youngest is currently a senior. They had the opportunity to earn college credit at Montgomery College through the dual enrollment program. Montgomery College's programs are both well regarded throughout the community, and I feel fortunate to have access to them personally and professionally. I'm very appreciative for the mutual beneficial partnership between Charles River and Montgomery College. At Charles River, we are motivated by a common purpose. Together, we create healthier lives, and we are thankful for Montgomery College's support. As you finalize the budget, I ask for your continued funding for Montgomery College's programs, including the biotechnology program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Michelle Whitaker.
Hello, President Stewart, Vice President Joando, and members of the County Council. It's very good to see you all. And I'm here with a couple of different hats, and the first one is as a Montgomery County resident. I just want to ask the council to make sure that they are centering our funding priorities to uphold our collective values. As our county and our country face attacks on our people and our institutions, I ask us to prioritize our most vulnerable, to fund public education, and to protect our values and ensure that we remain a welcoming and thriving county. As an MCPS parent, I'm here on behalf of London, who you all know, and all of her friends and classmates, and I'm urging the council to fully fund our school system. It's 160,000 students, it's 25,000 staff. That gives you over 185,000 reasons to support them, but I have a few more. First, education is a long-term investment, and it pays dividends that help us to create informed, engaged, and well-rounded students. The MCPS budget has continued to exceed maintenance of effort for several years because our needs across the system have grown several years. This is a compounding problem that has direct correlations to the gaps that we see in student achievement, especially in math and literacy. So funding our schools must now be something that we work on to close that gap by fully funding our school system. The council staff report on the FY26 budget made it clear that the burden for funding our school system is going to fall more on our county and local government. So that means that we must stand in that gap through not only our words, but in our actions. And that means that we need to fund our budget so we can hire and retain diverse staff and provide more localized funding and support to individual schools, as the superintendent has outlined in his budget. And finally, as the executive director for Ranked Choice Voting Maryland, I urge the council to make sure that we're ready for today and tomorrow when it comes to our elections. Our local board of elections and the election staff are our stewards of democracy and set up an effective and transparent framework for participation and accountability. I encourage the council to ensure that the local board has the tools and resources to continue its excellent mission in 2026, 2028, and beyond. I thank the council members for signing on to our recent letter for local enabling legislation to help expand voting methods to this county. We will continue to be hopeful for growing support that we see in multiple cities that are looking at in adopting ranked choice voting this year. And I urge the council to prepare for our local board and staff to be able to adopt ranked choice voting, which will happen, it will happen, and to establish a task force or working group that can help give clear guidance on the implementation and structure for implementing a new voting system. I thank you for your time. I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a great time during budget season.
I know. Sitting on that side of the table. Angela Franco.
Well, good afternoon, President Stewart, Vice President Joando, and members of the council. My name is Angela Franco. I'm the president of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce, and I've been a resident of the county for the last 23 years. I've dedicated my career to help business community, small and large, because we all are a very important part of the community as well. We thank you for the opportunity and for giving me the opportunity to testify today on the business community's priorities regarding the fiscal year 2026. The Montgomery County Chamber and the business community supports the county's investment in our economy. However, as we are aware, the county's economy is experiencing virtually no growth and is falling behind, and we need to do something about it. Part of the solution is a strong economic development infrastructure, and we're in support of the budget allocated for the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. And for all of you to know, we're working very closely not only with the Economic Development Corporation, but with all the chambers of commerce so that we have a more unified approach. We strongly believe that the economic development's mission and content, let me put my glasses, I'm sorry. Sorry, I forgot. I have to use glasses. Sorry. I haven't gotten used to them. So anyway, we strongly believe in the mission of the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, and it's an investment in the county's ability to grow jobs and to have economic activity. Additionally, the Chamber prioritizes investments in our life sciences and technology industries, which are supported by the Economic Development Corporation and the budget allocated to incubator programs. The county must also grow its ability to attract and retain talented workforce, and for that reason, we support the budget for the schools and Montgomery College. While the business community supports funding that invests in our economy, they're overshadowed by two proposals that will harm our county's competitiveness and limit our ability to grow the economy and jobs. The Chamber strongly opposes the proposed 3.4% property tax increase. We request that you all say no to the tax increase. In just the previous 3 years, we have seen increases in property taxes and recordation taxes. Additionally, the county, it has become a little more difficult place to do business thanks to rent control, high energy taxes, and compliance with building energy performance standards. The Chamber also opposes the system's benefit charge fee increase. The fee is meant to help close the county's waste-to-energy facility, but it is unclear how the county's waste disposal needs will be met without the facility. Not it is clear what it will cost to build another waste disposal solution. Now is really not the time to raise fees on our residents and businesses or to undertake a massive new capital project of uncertain cost. Instead of raising taxes and fees, we ask the council members to consider budget cuts or slowing the government's rate of growth if necessary to balance the budget. Thank you so much for the opportunity you gave me to testify today.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the panel. I'll call up the next panel. I just want to make sure I had called Dr. Anita Mawawi. No, okay. Lily Leonard, Dr. Cheryl Chapman, Isabella Wise, Iris Showerman, and Samantha Stevens. And Lily Leonard can start first whenever you're ready. Oh, take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
I'm casually taking off my coat. Sorry about that. Happy Food Waste Prevention Week. Everyone's favorite week. My favorite week. Good afternoon, Madam President, Mr. Vice President, and esteemed council members. My name is Lily Leonard. I'm a lifelong Marylander, born and raised in Rockville and Gaithersburg. And for the past 10 years, I've called Dickerson my home. This afternoon, I'm proud to speak on behalf of So What Else, a Rockville-based nonprofit that rescues and redistributes food to those experiencing hunger and food insecurity across Montgomery County and the region. If you haven't yet had the chance to visit us and see this incredible operation in action, I warmly invite you to do so. In fact, this Saturday, April 12th, So What Else is hosting an open house to celebrate the 5th anniversary of its food rescue program, where we will have the honor of receiving a congressional citation from a member of Senator Van Hollen's team. Even if you're not able to join us on Saturday, please know that you have an open invitation to visit anytime. Each year, the So What Else team, in conjunction with more than 100 partner organizations in Montgomery County alone, rescues and redistributes more than 16 million pounds of food, reaching hundreds of thousands of people, the vast majority of whom reside in Montgomery County. As community needs continue to grow, so does our service area. A powerful example of this expansion is our work in District 2, Upper and Western Upper Montgomery County, made possible through grant funding from the Office of Food Systems Resilience. This support enabled us to partner with local organizations to deliver food to neighbors in Poolesville, Boyds, Clarksville, Clarksburg, and Bellsville. These areas may be less densely populated, but the need is just as real. Food insecurity knows no geographic boundaries, and neither does our commitment to serving every corner of this county. We are deeply grateful to the Office of Food, I will never get that right, the Office of Food Systems, say it 5 times, really. OFSR, Good? Okay. For its leadership and collaboration in helping organizations like ours and MANA's meet this growing need. The team at OFSR, under the remarkable leadership of Heather Bruskin, has become an essential part of the county's efforts to not only respond to hunger, but to strengthen the systems that prevent it in the first place. Today, I urge you to, at a minimum, support full funding for the OFSR. We see every day that the need for food assistance is not going away, it is growing. And it is driven by deeper interconnected challenges, the rising cost of housing, healthcare, childcare, and other basic needs in Montgomery County. Cuts to programs in any of these areas ripple outward, increasing the burden on food systems and organizations like So What Else. I also want to emphasize that this need is only expected to intensify in the coming months, particularly as federal layoffs continue to impact families here in Maryland. More residents, many of whom have never needed assistance before, are now turning to food pantries and distribution partners for support. And when they come to us, we will do what we've always done: welcome them with compassion and respect, and ensure they have access to fresh produce, meat, dairy, baked goods, and essential non-perishables. This is not just about food. This is about resilience, dignity, and caring for our neighbors. Thank you for your time, for your leadership, and for your continued partnership in this vital work.
Thank you. Dr. Chapman?
Montgomery County Council President Stewart and all of the council members present, thank you for your time. My name is Dr. Cheryl Brizette Chapman, and I'm a resident of downtown Silver Spring, and I've lived and worked as a county resident for 40 years. After serving this region in many capacities and having recently retired since we last met from the helm of the National Center for Children and Families, my current roles include the African American Advisory Group for the County Exec, the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Silver Spring Town Center, and governor's appointees for the Procurement Improvement Council and the Board of Trustees of Montgomery College. This afternoon, however, and amid this most challenging season and with all the competing priorities, I simply wish to call your attention to a model program of proven value, the Black Physicians in Healthcare Network, or BPHN. Fortunately, this council launched this innovative emergency response during the COVID epidemic, and we have two former and current council members who led that. And we learned what we had not acknowledged earlier or sufficiently, that in the healthiest county in the state, Black folks were the least healthy. My perspective is quite expansive, but most importantly, my family and I raised 5 children, 1 physician, transitioned both my parents, one a World War II veteran, and lost an adopted son to fentanyl here in this county. As a Black woman, I have encountered every stage of healthcare, from prenatal to postmortem, and the varied impact on well-being, medical conditions, and death. And I have personally witnessed the human and fiscal life-changing health-related costs for those I have served over the years, my neighbors, my students and employees, and my church family. You have already heard about the impressive achievements of BPHN, so I'm not going to go through that, and its cultural specificity, matching Black health and mental health providers and outreach education partners to people who benefit from connection to healers and educators whom they can understand and therefore trust. You already know that this integrated approach saves lives and can do even more with stable funding and program evaluation that refine its efforts. BPHN is a unique model, and it is in a unique position to continue to reach thousands of people a year. However, it is not a model that one can absorb readily into consolidated cost-saving strategies. As we grapple with the wicked problems of housing affordability, necessary school infrastructure, public safety, taxation, and supporting the victims of federal workforce reductions, I ask that you also maintain BPHN's inaugural beginning, because it is in and of itself a cost-saving strategy. Dramatic changes like federal cuts to Medicaid and TANF, which are coming, it seems, as examples, will eventually affect vulnerable individuals whom BPHN targets to serve. Families are increasingly stressed, frightened, and confused. There's heightened need for connection and adaptability. We should not politicize health services and place it in an egalitarian framework that promotes equal treatment and cost efficiency. Equality does not mean necessarily equity. So what I want to conclude just now, I want to end by recalling my grandmother. Child, without your health, you don't got much else, just the Lord. Maintaining good health is the essential foundation for the Black community to move beyond sheer survival and rampant inequality in health outcomes to acquiring intergenerational well-being.
Thank you. Isabella Weiss?
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm going to speak from my heart today, and I just want to acknowledge that I'm very nervous because last night I was watching the county session, and I saw a student speaking on the current incident at Watkins Mill High School. And that reminded me of me being a teenager in MCPS, public schools, getting pregnant in middle school, being a victim of gang violence in Montgomery County public schools. No one was addressing my mental health during that time. But that was the stigma. They just had me talking to somebody, but no one really said, what is truly happening to this child here? The school wanted to push me out. Like, they were like, you don't need to be here. You already have a daughter, leave. Went to Queens Richard High School. I wish that now I could tell that principal that I'm going to be a doctor in 2 years. So I want to start with that. Thank you. I'm very nervous because in my community, and when I speak about my community, I speak the community that I serve as an advocate. And every day I see the suffering, I see the struggle of the parents, I see the struggle of me as a parent who continues to deal with PTSD till today. And it's hard. It's hard for me to work with the youth. It's hard for me to serve the parents. And when we think about fully funding MCPS budget, I am in agreement 100%. But why do kids not feel safe in school is the question. If just while we speak, how many guns do you think were in school today and knives? Why do youth feel the need to bring guns and knives to school? It's because they don't feel safe. I was one of those youth. I did not feel safe in schools. My life was a danger every day in NCPS schools. So till today, we're facing the same challenges. And I'm speaking 15 years ago. And we still have the same problems now. So we need to fully fund NCPS budget, but truly understand what is actually happening in the school building. What is truly happening in those buildings? Why do kids not feel safe? What is happening in there? I don't think we understand it. We need to get kids' perspective, kids from the hood. Excuse me for saying it that way, but kids that live in the hood, they need to truly tell you what is happening. Don't hear it from me. You need to go into those communities and ask them. So when I think of funding DHHS budget, yes, fund the Street Outreach Network, fund Credington, fund MANA, fund the App County Hub, fund Identity. All of these programs are truly needed. We need this program because programs like that is what saved me. And I speak today because programs like that is what helped me back in the day. So that's why I'm here today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we have Irish Showerman.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Iris Showerman, or Edie's in Spanish. I am proud to be here today with my colleagues and an incredible program participant to represent LAYC. We've been recommended for funding through the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, and we are here to advocate for the approval of this recommendation. I've had the privilege of calling Montgomery County home for 25 years, and my journey in the nonprofit world began nearly 20 years ago with an internship at Cornerstone Montgomery, formerly known as St. Luke's House, which later turned into my first full-time job ever as a rehabilitation counselor. So internships make a difference. As a first-generation MCPS high school and college graduate, I know firsthand the power of mentorship and opportunity. It's what drives me at LAYC to pay it forward and ensure that all young people have the support they need to succeed. At LAYC, we serve youth ages 16 to 24 through education, workforce development, life skills training, and wraparound support. In FY24, we served 594 young people, and almost 200% increase from the year before. That's not just growth, it's impact. Every number is a story of resilience, transformation, and hope. When we invest in our youth, we're not just shaping individual futures, we're strengthening the foundation of Montgomery County's future workforce. Our young people bring talent, drive, and potential to every room they enter. With the right support, they don't just prepare for jobs, they gain the confidence and skills to thrive as leaders, co-workers, and community members. As Maryland faces a critical labor shortage in skilled industries with about 3 job openings for every job seeker, programs like ours are a direct response to this urgent challenge, training the next generation of professionals, reducing youth unemployment, and helping to build long-term community wealth. But youth need more than just workforce opportunities. Many are facing mental health challenges, housing instability, and many other barriers. That's why we pair career development with intensive wraparound care, including mental health support and case management, so that our young people are equipped to succeed in every aspect of their lives. As we look ahead to FY26, we urge you to continue and expand your investment in LAYC. With your support, we can reach more youth, connect more participants to high-demand careers, address critical needs, and help break the cycle of poverty through lasting holistic impact. An investment in LAYC, it's a commitment to equity, economic growth, and the future of Montgomery County. Thank you for your time, your partnership, and your belief in our youth.
Thank you. Next, we have Samantha Stevens.
Good afternoon. My name is Samantha Stevens, and I've been a proud participant of LAYC since 2023. I want to share just how much LAYC has been a life-changing part of my journey. When I came to LAYC, I was searching for direction and a second chance at my education. With their support, I was able to earn my GED, something I once thought was out of reach. At the same time, I joined their Conservation Corps program, which gave me more than just a paycheck. It gave me purpose. Through that program, I developed real-world skills, grew in confidence, and found a sense of belonging. LAYC didn't just help me get a job, they helped me build the foundation for a career and a future I could be proud of. What stood out to me most was how the staff treated me, with respect, care, and belief in my potential. They supported me in my growth, but also made sure I had everything I needed to succeed. They taught me how to network, how to communicate professionally, and how to build strong relationships, skills that continue to help me grow personally and professionally every single day. After completing the program, I was given the chance to return to LAYC as a GED teacher assistant through the workforce program. Being able to come back and support other young people working toward their diplomas has been incredibly meaningful. It's a full circle moment that reminds me of how far I've come and how much more I want to give back. But LAYC's impact doesn't stop with me. They've been there for my family too, providing resources and guidance that have made a real and lasting difference in our lives. I've watched so many other young people like me thrive with LAYC's support. They don't just help youth, they empower us to believe in ourselves, to find our paths, and to reach our full potential. When you support LAYC, you're not just funding a program, you're investing in real lives, real growth, and the future of our community. And I'm living proof of what that investment can do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our entire panel. Our next panel and our last in person for the afternoon includes Sergio Cruz, Emily Rodriguez, Sean Caldwell, and Latara Harris. And we will start off with Sergio Cruz when you're ready.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sergio Cruz, and I'm a case manager with LAYC, along with Iris, Sam, and some of the other teammates who came with today. I began my career with social services through a mental health crisis intervention program, which initially fueled a passion for helping others in need. But in 2023, I began working with LAYC and the team, some of whom you've met here today. And they've actually helped me quite a bit in developing my passion for creating this safe space for young people, helping them achieve their goals and helping them successfully transition into adulthood through the programming that we offer. Also, being born and raised in the county also helps drive that passion, like for the young people that grew up around me as well. But I'm actually going to read a testimony of one of the young people who initially was supposed to be here today, but was not able to due to an emergency, and it reads as follows. My name is Gabriel Jovel Lopez, and my journey with LAYC began in 2023 when I joined the Conservation Corps program while simultaneously working on my GED classes after leaving high school. It was my very first job, and I remember feeling nervous and unsure of myself. But from day one, the staff at LAYC welcomed me with open arms. They didn't just give me instructions, they believed in me, they helped me build confidence, and made sure I had everything I needed to succeed, but not just as a worker and as a person. Being part of LAYC helped me fully re-engage with my education, and for the first time I saw that earning my high school diploma through the GED was truly possible. I even discovered a love for math, which I never thought was truly possible. I earned my GED, and I gained real work experience, received steady paycheck, and earned valuable certifications like OSHA, Flagger certification, and First Aid and CPR. From there, I joined the Maryland Service Year Program and was thrilled to be able to return to LAYC, this time as an outreach specialist. It meant everything to me to be able to go back to the place that gave me so much and help others learn about the same opportunities that changed my life. After completing my service year, I continued working with LAYC's workforce program, now assisting in the very same GED classes that I once sat in. Helping other young people pass their GED felt like coming full circle. LAYC didn't just help me find my path, they helped me discover my purpose. I strongly support LAYC receiving continued funding because every young person deserves the chance to experience a full circle moment just like mine. And with the right support, LAYC can continue to support other young people in need, just like they did for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Emily Rodriguez.
Thank you. Hello, council members. My name is Emily Rodriguez, and I was born and raised in Montgomery County, which has given me the opportunity to see how much the adults in the community truly care about our next generation and the young people across the county. I did not know of all the resources when I was a young person, but I think that that is the interesting part about giving back to your community and learning about the ins and outs of those complex systems. So with LAYC, I have learned what it's like to be on the other side and to help make some of these complex systems a little bit more palatable to our young people and also to their families. I think with being a Montgomery County resident and serving residents in our community, it has shown me not only a passion that I've had deep within to make sure that the people around me are safe, seen, and heard, but also those who find themselves lacking that support system in that community. So that being said, I am proud to be a part of a team of so many people who show that passion and dedication every single day. I think within our young people, we see reflections of ourselves as well. It is different challenges that we meet day to day, different challenges that change from a week to week, month to month. As we know, depending on administration, many things can shift overnight. So I think with that being said, when we talk about our GD program, we are looking beyond the academic achievement. Of course, we're tracking progress, and of course, we're supporting their academic journey. But we're also looking to make sure that we're giving skills and tools that they can take with them and impart with other people in their lives as well. So when we think about our GD program, we're thinking about the whole person. How can we look at the holistic approach, think about what needs they have, and if we don't already offer the services to meet those needs, how do we bridge those gaps with community members from other organizations that we heard from here today? So when I think of our GD program, I think about success stories that we've heard 2 of today, and I'd like to share one more with you. Our GD program has been in the county for years now, and we've seen many changes, including that global pandemic that we all still kind of coming out of that awkward tension, including being community workers, and how do we serve our community when we're meeting global stake issues like that. And so I think of a young person that before the pandemic started, she was dipping her feet in a lot of different experiences that otherwise perhaps she would not have felt comfortable to be there. I'm thinking civically, I've seen her go to protest and exercise her right to peacefully assemble with peers and to advocate for things that she truly believes in. And that young person, despite the pandemic happening right in the thick of her journey, she actually gave us many recommendations and needs and communicated about what it would look like or how it should look like for her and her peers during that time. It was, again, difficult for us to social distance and yet still bring in that a celebration of achievement, but we were able to creatively problem solve and do a graduation parade. So I'll conclude by saying that I think of young people like that, where they're able to return to our programming years later, as she did in 2024, to partake in the workforce program. And so again, we're looking at the entire person and how can we help successfully integrate you to our society. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sean Caldwell.
Hello. All right, we good. All right. Hello, everybody. So I'm gonna be smiling a lot because I'm very proud of my team, for everybody for advocating. They did a lot of good work. So I'm Sean Caldwell. I've been with LAYC in Montgomery County for about 3 years. Prior to that, I have about a decade of experience working in homelessness and nonprofits that help people who are experiencing homelessness. So not as much as Liz, but I also was around the country at different spots. We got Vermont, we got St. Louis, we got San Diego, we got Montgomery County, and Iowa in between. So been in a lot of places. So for the past 4 years, I've been specifically, you don't get it, but that was one that was catching me up a bit. So I've been specifically working on workforce development, so helping people build the skills and stability they need to thrive. So my work at LAYC allows me to continue that mission by empowering young people to overcome barriers, gain meaningful employment, and create brighter futures for themselves and the community. So we also provide internships, industry trainings and certifications, connections to post-secondary opportunities, and our ultimate goal is to promote self-sufficiency and economic mobility by preparing the young people for placements in high-demanding jobs in our community. So we have firsthand seen how transformative youth employment programs can be. I think of one young woman in particular. She came to us, she was facing housing instability, and she was working at multiple minimum wage jobs just to make ends meet. So now she is in our workforce program, and she's got some help from some other county resources. She is stably housed now, so that's pretty good. We're pretty happy about that. And she just finished a nursing assistant training. So actually took her to go get fingerprints today. So yay. But she is thriving right now. She is in the final stage of securing full-time employment. And that's not just her success, that's all of our success. So that is a win for all of us. This is the power investment in our young people by providing mentorship, job trainings, and a pathway to meaningful employment. We are not only changing individual lives, we are strengthening families, neighborhoods, and the local economy. So supporting youth workforce programs is about more than short-term outcomes. It's about building a future where every young person has the chance and opportunity to contribute, grow, and succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we have LaTara Harris.
I think I'm standing between you all and this gas smell. Do you know that's here? Okay, I just want to make sure everyone knows that's here. I hope that's not counted against me. Okay. Well, it's such a pleasure to be here with you all today. LaTara Harris, CEO of Crittenden Services of Greater Washington. So many of you have been incredible champions over the years. We are headquartered in your district, Councilmember Stewart, and certainly Councilmember Mink, you got out and spoke with our students and so forth, and Councilmember Natalie and others. Okay, let me not go off names because I'm calling against my testimony. So you all, for the most part, Councilmember Sales, I keep going. Okay, I won't do that. You know that, our work is really helping teen girls to develop strong social emotional skills, anger management, adulting and life skills training, and leadership skills that can help them throughout life. We are 136 years old as an organization. I'll submit a formal testimony with more details for you later. But to date, we're able to, let me get my numbers. So we currently serve over 700 girls in 16 middle and high schools right here in Montgomery County. And over time, we've served over 9,000 teen girls. We have the infrastructure, we have the programming, we have the incredible staff and commitment and talent right under our wings. But I'm going to divert a little bit from my testimony. We have great results. 100% of the girls are graduating. They're going on to post-secondary education. You all have a very difficult decision ahead of you. I saw what happened in Annapolis on Monday. I was on that side of the fence, as Councilmember Dwando knows, when I was in corporate, and seeing the challenges that you have with the budgets. And you should know that on our side of the house, we are seeing incredible. Many of us might have thought that the federal, funding, we don't have federal dollars, so maybe we're okay. But no, federal impacts the state agency. Federal impacts the companies that are regulated by them. So all of our funding, most of ours, is in question. We have some that are, we don't care, we're going through it, like the Costco's of the world, but some are not. So I am really asking that this council look at Crittenden Services of Greater Washington in great detail, know that we're fully capable, certainly restore the existing dollars where we are, but we're open to having many, many more. I can help, my team can help in the work that we're needing to do to help these young ladies, both parents, teen mothers, as well as middle school students and high school students in the trauma-informed care, positive youth development messaging that we do. So I ask that you strongly, as you're going through this budget, we're out here, LAYC, others, Craig's group, all of us are doing this work in community, and we deeply need your support to continue funding our work. And in fact, for those of us, looking at other partnerships and so forth, that is a major focus of the work that we're doing. So I know your decision is difficult ahead of you. I applaud you. I thank you for your service. It's often a thankless situation. And remember, I got a few more seconds because I told you about the gas leak, but thank you for allowing me to have my testimony. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who came. That concludes our in-person portion of our public hearing today. We will now turn to our virtual participants, and Win Lei is our first person to testify virtually.
Good afternoon, Montgomery County Council. My name is Win Lee. I'm a lifelong resident of Montgomery County, and I'm here testifying as the Program Director at Rock Creek Conservancy, a nonprofit watershed organization whose mission is to restore Rock Creek and its parklands as a natural oasis for all people to appreciate and protect. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony today for the Montgomery County FY26 operating budget. I will highlight some areas that the Conservancy supports and some areas we recommend for Council. More details can be found in our written testimony. For the Department of Environmental Protection, we are overall pleased and supportive of the proposed DEP budget, and we support the entirety of the proposed watershed restoration budget. Montgomery County has done great work meeting regulatory requirements for stormwater, but these requirements are not enough to protect our streams and watersheds. DEP, its staff, and its contractors have demonstrated that they are capable of doing more than the MS4 permit requires, and the increases in the proposed FY26 budget demonstrate some of the ambition we would like to see even more of. One of the ways to go beyond the permit's minimal requirement is to identify additional sources of revenue that can be directed to stormwater management, such as the water quality protection charge. We support the recommended rate increase to $147 per equivalent residential unit. However, this charge needs to keep pace with inflation and increase above the cost of baseline program delivery in order to truly return our watersheds to health. This rate currently does not account for additional stormwater work or planning beyond the permit, nor does it fund the ever-growing cost of flood management, nor does it fully fund major structural repairs as facilities age and deteriorate. We also recommend removing the Tier 7 cap on the water quality protection charge to more equitably collect funds to mitigate stormwater from properties with significant impervious cover. Properties with large amounts of impervious cover create water quality and flooding problems, yet they pay less per square foot than everyone else. The Council should work with the DEP to revise the tier structure as soon as possible. This will have the added benefit of helping to pay for the increasing costs associated with aging infrastructure and changing rainfall patterns. Federal funds are less reliable than they used to be, both appropriated funds and competitive grants, so local revenue sources are important. For the Parks Department, we were surprised and concerned about the proposed budget for our parks. The Parks Department asked for a 7.2% increase to provide the current service level and account for inflation. Unfortunately, this proposed budget only provides our parks with 3.2 adjustment to provide the same services. This seems unconscionable given that other county departments received on average an increase of 6.7%. Please restore this funding baseline. Without adequate funding, the parks will not have sufficient staff and resources to effectively manage our parks and conduct essential services. Parks drive our quality of life, and in challenging economic times, they offer affordable recreational opportunities that are critical to the well-being of our community members. Continued and increased support of our DEP and Parks Department are vital investments in climate change mitigation and preparation and stormwater management that we must make to make sure Montgomery County remains a thriving and healthy place for all its residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Andrea Kepner-Wink.
Thank you. Thank you, Montgomery County Council members, for the opportunity to speak today. I am Andrea Kempner-Wink, Managing Director of Community Reach of Montgomery County and a lifelong resident of Montgomery County. Reach, now in our 58th year of serving this community, appreciates the support the Council and our county has given to our organization as we offer health care, housing, financial emergency assistance, education for immigrants, and elder care for the underserved. Our organization has been a member of nonprofit Montgomery for years and strongly believes in collaboration between nonprofit organizations, our local governments, and the community at large. Community Reach of Montgomery County provides 5 areas of service. Rockville Emergency Assistance Program, REAP, helps those who face eviction or utility turnoffs or need referrals for food, clothing, dental, and vision care. REAP is now receiving calls from laid-off federal workers who are gathering information as they expect for the first time to need to reach out for the financial help in the coming months. Our Senior Reach program provides free home care services and repair and maintenance for lower-income seniors so they can remain in their homes. These clients are worried about potential cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and other benefits, as well as the increase in costs of food and all other essentials. And they're going to need more of our support, not less. Our housing program with Jefferson House and Rockland House offers a safe place to call home for men and women who were previously unhoused and includes case management to help them move towards independence. Language Outreach Program, or LOP, provides a way for immigrants to be more engaged with our community through English language or ESOL classes and U.S. citizenship test preparedness classes. Mansfield Casement Health Clinic, also MKHC, is a health care home for lower-income residents who are uninsured or enrolled in Medicare or Medicaid. As students and patients of Language Outreach Program and Mansfield Casement Health Clinic are primarily immigrants, especially from Central and South America, since January, these constituents are experiencing a huge increase in anxiety and insecurity. As you make the tough budget decisions for FY 2026, we ask you to continue to include safety net services in the base budget at funding levels equal to FY 25 plus a 3% cost of living to partially cover rising costs. We ask you to consider the increasing need for our services we have seen over the past few years and the expected high increase we expect to see with federal worker layoffs, attacks on immigrants, and more. We ask that you also continue to provide community grants, including the legacy grants that have allowed REACH to continue to provide free citizenship classes, child care, and tutoring at LOP, and offer some of the most important services at MKHC. Thank you for your consideration of our testimony and support of Community Reach in Montgomery County services. I will send written testimony that includes some of our success story.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Sierra Roberts. Oh, there she is.
Okay. Hello, you guys. My name's Sierra Roberts. I've been a Montgomery County resident pretty much my entire life, on and off. I've lived between Montgomery County and Washington, D.C. The points that I wanted to bring up today, I'm here speaking because I heard that we were allocating or what's the word that I'm looking for? Dispersing about $50 million to homeless families in need. I personally have been experiencing homelessness for the last 3 months due to a situation that happened over at Spring Park. Spring Park was brought to the news due to me going to, well, I would like to believe, due to me going to court. I had a mold issue in my apartment for over 2 years that was not treated by the property managers. It took me going into getting rent escrow and all these different judiciary proceedings that I had to do in order to finally get some kind of assistance in that matter. Instead of fixing the matter, the apartment complex offered to allow me to move out. I had to pay rent for about 6 months, which I thought was crazy, but thankfully, due to the community coming together and pretty much sticking together and being able to coalition and get us on the news. Well, I didn't get the chance to be on the news, but the community did. They got to be on the news and they got all their points seed. They basically will not be raising the rent over there now because they're not taking care of the mold and the bats and the roaches and the mice and all the other things that are going on in that community. So I'm here to try to get that $50 million allocated to homelessness and families in need, due to the fact that homelessness would have a very good, reducing homelessness would have a good effect on the overall happiness of the entire county. Less families that are homeless, less families that do not need housing or basic needs. They're able to be more vibrationally able to contribute to the community around them when they're finally accepted and given the grace and space in order to be able to live appropriately, have proper housing. Also, reduce homelessness inspires people to want to become workers of jobs. People who actually have homes and places to live actually want to work. Me, surprisingly, I've been able to be homeless for 3 months and still contribute to my county by working DoorDash and also being a hairstylist, which I've been doing since I was for the last 10 years. Also, everyone is capable and accounted for. There's no strays. There's no one that is unaccounted for in the county if you have people who have their housing, meaning people are not out of potential reach, sleeping under bridges, doing who knows what, crime and things. During me being homeless, I've had the police actually walk up to me and tell me that someone was shooting off a gun in a parking lot next to me. So it's pretty scary being homeless. It's not just something that should be taken as like, whatever. Also, the misuse of funds that were discovered by Elon Musk could finally be funneled towards this project, I believe. Since we have been sending out Lord knows how much money to all different countries doing Lord knows what, I believe it'd be great to finally get that money channeled to us. But thank you for allowing me to share. I do have a few more points to put, if you allow.
Ms. Roberts, you can email in. I think we might have lost her. Okay. We can follow up with Ms. Roberts. Next, we have Tara Owens.
Thank you. Oh, they follow up. Okay, great.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Tara Owens, the Executive Director of Main Street, and I'm here in strong support of the County Executive's recommended FY26 budget, especially the cost of living adjustment for nonprofit contracts and the funding for the Office of Grants Management. Main Street, located right here in Rockville, is more than a building. It's a community where inclusion is not just a value, it's a way of life. Founded by Jillian and Scott Copeland in response to their son's lack of housing and social opportunities, Main Street has become a vibrant model for inclusive living since opening in 2020. We are a 70-unit accessible apartment building with 75% affordable housing and 25% units set aside for adults with disabilities, a membership-based community of 280-plus individuals, including 95 Rockville residents, who participate in 12 weekly programs in wellness, culture, and education, a movement of inclusion, an inclusive employer led by Soulful Cafe, where half of the staff have disabilities. We are also proud members of Nonprofit Montgomery and echo the importance of maintaining the 3% COLA, cost of living adjustment, and full funding for the Office of Grants Management. Main Street occupies a unique position. We first applied for funding in 2020, right as the Office of Grants Management launched, and new applicants were ineligible. By 2023, the number of applicants had exploded, and like many others, we received the base grant of $5,244. Meanwhile, several peer organizations offering similar services have received non-competitive contracts for decades, including UCR since FY21 and both PCR and Best Buddies since FY02 or earlier. Our ask is simple. We respectfully request the opportunity to apply for a non-competitive contract so we can access the same long-term sustainable supports as our peers. With pending cuts to Medicaid and DDA funding, many of our members are already losing vital services. The need for community-based supports like Main Street has never been more urgent. Let me end with a quick story. Maddie, who is 34 years old, came to Main Street after just losing her mother, who was her primary caregiver. At first, she was quiet and withdrawn, but slowly she began to participate, and she now works out in our gym, attends weekly programs, and just last week, I was with her, and she was making plans with a friend to go to a movie, which was the first time ever on her own, and now she's even starting a book club here at Main Street. So it's that power of belonging, and we thank the Council for your continued leadership. With your support, we can ensure Montgomery County remains a place where everyone has a seat at the table and a place to call home. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Ayakam Hiliwalk.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yakin Pelatawork, and I'm resident at MHP's apartment community located in Takoma Park. I've lived here for 3 years now, but I was living in Seattle, Washington at a private apartment that cost more than my current rent at MHP. I'm able to save money each month and use that money towards other expenses such as my car insurance. Apart from the reduced rent, I'm happy to be resident at MHP because of the service provided to residents, especially in time of financial crisis. MHP staff have been helpful, especially when I first moved to Maryland. I was easily connected to the career coach to help me find a job outside of Uber, but also I didn't continue with the service. I was happy to have been provided such informations. I want our council members to know that we need more affordable housing. This will really help low-income families financially while also being able to save money for food and other expenses. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Next, we have Kenya Aniknum.
Greetings, council members. My name is Kina Ijoma Anyam. I am a resident of the East County community and is the chair of the African Affairs Advisory Group. Today, I come to the council as a private citizen to advocate for the features of the FY26 budget with knowledge of the needs of the African community, funding the Lighthouse Initiative, adding a grants counselor, and shifting the part-time liaison position of the African group to a full-time position. First, I ask that funding for HHS for the Lighthouse Initiative, formerly known as the Newcomers Initiative, be supported and the requested amount met in full. This county continues to see growth in the refugee population, with many still coming from African nations. In partnership with the Caribbean Community Liaison, whose leadership in developing a support system to provide community resources and triage these new residents has been critical for inclusivity. This initiative needs funds to continue doing the valuable work to help assimilate hundreds who inevitably contribute to the bottom line of this county. Second, I ask that funding for the Office of Grants Management be fully supported and that the budget be enhanced to include a full-time employee position dedicated to grant counseling. While many African nonprofits and community groups have been awarded grants, just as many have not, leading to county resource partners decreasing their ability to alleviate capacity and caseload issues experienced by county governments. We appreciate resources like the Montgomery County Grants Guide. However, the effectiveness of our program is in part determined by the degree to which the public feels there's transparency in awarding and rejecting grant applications. Counseling can achieve that. The enhanced budget to include a grants counselor would go a long way to ensure the efficacy and transparency of grants management for all. Third, I ask the budget for the community engagement cluster be enhanced to change the part-time African liaison position to a full-time employee position. In order for the Office of Community Partnerships to effectively take lead in the county's multilingual and multicultural outreach efforts, they will need the support of a full-time African liaison. During the day, I work as Community Engagement Manager for a literacy intervention tutoring nonprofit. As my title suggests, I work in the community to inform them about literacy crisis and mobilize volunteers to tutor elementary students on their literacy journey. Community events and answering hundreds of inquiries to aid parents in trying to help their child learn to read is not and cannot be confined to a 40-hour work week, much less confined to 20 hours. To honor this council's commitment to racial equity would be to ensure resources community assets are in place to address and resolve community issues as they arise, which cannot be conveniently done in a 20-hour work week. To offer less than a full-time position, pay less than an individual who works to provide two-way communication between the county leadership and thousands of African residents is to say that your belief in the scope of work and the population served does not satisfy that of a full-time employee. In light of current circumstances, it is critical that funding, support, and protect the needs of all residents, including our proud residents of the African diaspora. I thank you for your time today and consideration of these requests, and I look forward to continued efforts to keep our county safe, equitable, and competitive.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Gaudi de Leon Olivares.
Good afternoon. As you have said, my name is Gaudi de Leon Olivares, and I am a Gaithersburg High School alumni of Creative Services and the Sneakers program. I have been part of Sneakers program for over 6 years, and this program means so much to me. As a first-generation Latina, I have always struggled to fit in, as I needed to fit in a box in order to be accepted by others. I didn't grow up in the U.S., so changing from my culture, my language, and more specifically, my own identity was a struggle. Sneakers support with my mental health and the resources they give me to help me in my classes truly help me give me a chance to improve. Not just my health, just not academically, just not academically, but also as an individual. Without Sneakers, I would have felt more alone. Felt the pressure to change who I was to fit in, and Sneakers allowed me to be who I am without judgment. In fact, they encouraged me to be proud of who I am in my culture. Through Sneakers, I was able to excel in my classes and do well in school, and now I had a support who I truly value who I am. Sneakers has helped me so many girls that felt that no one cared, and gave them a chance to grow and become a better version of themselves. This Sneakers program has encouraged me to finish college, keep going in my studies, and become a professional. Which I have always wanted to be. Their support and encouragement have fueled my desire for a higher education, knowing that they have so much faith in me. So dear council, without programs like Sneakers, many girls like me would have had a long giving up on of having a bright future. We aren't just numbers in the educational system, we are voices, and we are the future of this country. Don't give up on girls like me, for we will do great things in the future. Please continue to fund creative services and their Sneakers programs through your base budget, as bright futures like mine are just waiting to receive a helping hand. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And our last speaker is not on Zoom, so Gaudi, you are our last speaker for our public hearings on our operating budget. Thank you so much for rounding us out there. We've had over 230 people come and provide testimony on our operating budget. Again, I just want to thank our incredible staff who have helped sign everyone up, get everybody here. Thank you so much. And thank everyone who was able to provide testimony. As we said, the council is beginning or continuing our work. We'll have committee sessions and then full council sessions. Please email us, call us as we are going through this budget process. And I just want to thank everyone for their assistance as we do this budget this year. And with that, our public hearing is now closed and we are adjourned.